callbacks to old seasons, hidden things that if you weren't looking for, you wouldn't find, and even the last reality is somehow on the map already. This is the Season 3 storyline explained.
This reality is doomed.
Let's start from the beginning. In Season 1, Chapter 4, there was a man named Stellan. Stellan was being taunted by somebody that we called the Shapeless Man. The Shapeless Man haunted Stellan's dreams, telling him that if he didn't build a rift gate, he would destroy the island into two. He built the rift gate and it ended up failing.
The energy of the rift gate is destabilizing. This could rip open the entire sky, and we have no idea what's on the other side.
This led to these massive earthquakes splitting the map open, revealing this abandoned jungle. A jungle that once had a whole civilization, but now has no one but ruins. That's the little recap. Now let's get into the real stuff. At the end of this trailer, we saw Dr. Sloan, a character that we all thought had died in Chapter 3, but it turns out she was saved by someone. More news on who saved her later. The important part is that she isn't dead, and is alive right here on this island. If you walk up to the SLONE NPC with specific characters, we get special dialogues. There is a new Battle Pass character called Relic, and if you speak with SLONE using this skin, SLONE tells him that just because you got me back on my feet doesn't mean that I owe you. We can assume that that means that Relic was actually the one that saved her from the incident that happened in Chapter 3. And an even more mysterious dialogue is between Riftward and Stellan. She tells him, I know what you are, even if you don't. This might not make sense, so let me go on a quick 10-second explanation. The Oathbound was introduced in Season 1, and Riftward Stellan is a part of the Oathbound. The Oathbound is a very beginning version of the IO. If you didn't know, SLONE was a part of the IO before she almost died. That would technically mean that she is from the future, or that Riftward Stellan is actually from the past. This means that SLONE knows how Riftward Stellan will actually turn out, but it doesn't seem too good. The next interaction is very important. If you use Gunner, which used to be SLONE's right-hand man in the IO, she tells him, I told you I'm done, which means she's finished with the IO. Theorize in the comments, but let's move on to Midas. In the new challenges, we can actually turn into a very specific character, Aurelia. She's a female version of Oro, and Oro is related to Midas. But wait, there's more. In these ruins, there are blueprints of something very familiar, super familiar to Oro. It turns out that these blueprints are maps to the power of the Golden Touch. And this explains Midas's backstory. Midas was once someone that worked with the company called IO, and so was SLONE. In an image from a few chapters ago, we see this picture. It's Midas in a classroom being taught by SLONE, but this isn't the same Midas we see today. So what happened? While the IO were exploring this massive threat called the Last Reality, they stumbled upon this jungle which happened to be run by the Last Reality. Within this jungle, there was this power, the Golden Touch. Midas overheard about this while working one day, and he decided to go on a hunt for this power, broke the rules of the IO, and found his way to this jungle. He hunted down for this treasure, got it, and when the IO heard about this, they got angry and sent him into the loop, placing us in Chapter 2, Season 2, when he tries to break the loop. So wait, I mentioned the Last Reality being tied to this jungle? Well, an interaction I didn't mention earlier was that a skin named Trace. When you go up to Dr. Sloan using this skin, she says these glyphs are the key to all of this. This explains it all. The reason our island is doomed, the reason the Last Reality is returning, the reason this plant looks suspiciously like the sideways bubble from Chapter 2, Season 8, okay, maybe not, but still. These buildings are covered in glyphs. These glyphs are the exact glyphs we see the Last Reality use with all of their stuff. The cube has glyphs, the dark skins have glyphs, and everything related to the Last Reality has glyphs. That means whoever abandoned this jungle was the Last Reality. If you go to a car and turn on the radio, you will eventually hear Optimus Prime talk. He warns us that there is a danger coming.
This reality is doomed to collapse, but hope is not yet lost. I cannot sustain this broadcast for much longer. Listen, and more will follow.
What will happen in the rest of the season? Will we see the return of the IO and Geno? Why do these plants look exactly like the sideways bubble? I don't understand. Use code PBJ for the Battle Pass